जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन बल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन बल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना। यमुना तीरावन चारी यमुना तीरावन चारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन बल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन बल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरावन चारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा कालचंजी राधा कालचंजी राधे। Jayo Radha Kalachanji Radha Kalachanji Radhe. Jayo Radha Govind Radha Govind Radhe. Jayo Jagannath Jayo Jagannath Jayo Baladeva Jayo Subhadra. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol. Jayo Jayo Prabhupada 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada. Jayo Jayo Gurudev 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 Jayo Jayo Gurudev. Gaur Premanande. Jayo Jayo Shri Caitanya Jayo Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jayo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jayo Jayo Shri Caitanya Jayo Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jayo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jayo Jayo Shri Caitanya Jayo Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jayo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrta ki, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna. So we will be reading from Caitanya Charitamrta. This is Madhya, chapter 11, verse 51 onwards. So you can pull that in your phone since we don't have the TV. Also, chapter 11, verse 51. Madhya 11:51. Also, today is Shivratri, Mahashivratri. We'll hear a little bit about it. So you can also pull, like, it's called Radha Kripa Kataksh. You can pull it on KK song. We won't read the entire thing, but some of it. And also Bhagavatam 8:7-44. Bhagavatam 8:7-44. To start with the invocation prayers. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Praying at the lotus feet of my spiritual master, our dear most Srila Prabhupada, and all the Guru Vargas, may I speak few words in the glorification of our dear most Lord Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is none other than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. For the pleasure of the Vaishnavas and for my very own purification, Bancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Mukum karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Deenatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Kathanchana smite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet Vismite viparitam syat Shri Chaitanya namami tvam. Okay. So little background of this episode here. This is the episode of King Prataprudra, which is pretty popular amongst, in the Chaitanya Charitamrta for various reasons. So one thing was that Prataprudra is very desperate to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and him being the king who are said to be closely associating with wealth and women, Mahaprabhu as a strict sannyasi wanted to maintain the standard, and also so wanted to set an example for all of us to know what a sannyasi is supposed to be like. And but then the devotees are so merciful, so loving towards Prataprudra that they wanted him to get an audience of the Lord, and Lord wouldn't budge. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was the priest of King Prataprudra, also Prabhupada mentions him as his spiritual master, was asking Mahaprabhu, he asked this beautiful question that, can I ask you something if you say yes? And then he says, I will say yes if it is appropriate. That's what Mahaprabhu says. So he says, can you not meet Prataprudra? And Mahaprabhu says, this is a wrong thing that you're asking. He's Vishayi, he's a materialist. And if I meet with him, I will be defamed for, being a sannyasi, being a renunciate, associating with the one who associates with wealth and women. And then Mahaprabhu also threatens him, saying, if you ever say it again, then I will leave this Puri and go. And hearing this, of course, Bhattacharya steps back and say, okay, and then he goes back home. But he was still contemplating, thinking what can I do for Prataprudra? Because he was so much, despondent to meet the Lord. And then at the same time also the king comes, along with him comes his entourage, and then of course Ramananda Rai comes, and Rai comes, and he straight goes to the Lord to see him, as in the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he goes to him and says, he pays obeisances, and he says that the king has released me as soon as I said that I want to serve you. And he was so happy. He not only just released me immediately, he also gave me pension for rest of my life, so I don't get into any financial crisis or things like that. And then of course for today's class I was primarily hearing Gauranga Darshan Prabhu, and here he was mentioning that when you have a Vaishnava leader, this is how it works. He didn't have to struggle as much as Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. We see how much struggle Sanatan Goswami, they had to lie, they had to say things, and frame the entire situation for them to escape from the Muslim king's kingdom or the administration. So that was one point he was mentioning, that's Prabhupada says, even Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that one day there will be magistrates and big positions, there will be people who will wear tilak and rule the world. And that's how it would be when you just go and say, can I have a holiday on Janmashtami? He'll say, of course, let us all go. But yeah, that's how it was. And then King was saying, glorifying again and again, Maharaj Prataprudra, how wonderful he was, and etc. And then hearing that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he heard that Prataprudra was so affectionate towards his devotee, Ramananda Rai, his heart softened. And he was, he's kind of softened, and he was like, he will get Krishna's mercy soon because he took care of Krishna's devotee. And that's when it started. But he still didn't budge yet, okay, I'll go and meet, etc. Right? But at the same time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, again, these are simultaneous things happening, parallel things. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was called by the king, said, what did the Lord say? And he said, he doesn't want to meet you. And hearing this, Prataprudra got very devastated and says, then what's the point of, if me being king is something that's becoming, obstacle in my meeting him with the Lord, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then I will give up. I won't remain a king. I won't do, then he won't have any problem to meet me. And hearing this, Bhattacharya gets worried. This is the same worry that Krishna has. If Yudhishthir Maharaj doesn't become the king, then Duryodhan will. And then it becomes like what it was not supposed to be. Like, then you have to go to work on Janmashtami. So then Bhattacharya becomes very worried, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He says, no, don't become so sad. Actually, recently Ramananda had spoken about you to the Lord, and he has softened a bit. And I will tell you a trick. If you listen to me, and I'll tell you how to do it, you will surely and certainly you will get an audience with the Lord. And this is where the Guru comes, right? We may do so many things, we may do so many service, we may do so many endeavor, but unless the Guru's blessing is there, the Guru guides us how to get the mercy of the Lord. It's very hard. And Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Tat vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya, right? You hear, you serve the spiritual master, the pure devotee, very submissively, and you inquire from him. And that's when because he is enlightened in this transcendental knowledge. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya goes ahead and explains how to get the mercy of the Lord. So they will trick the Lord. So we are in 51. I'll read the verses. Bhattacharya kohe devo na koro bishado tomare. You want to recite after me? Okay. Bhattacharya kohe devo na koro bishado তোমারে প্রভুর অবশ্য হইবে প্রসাদ. This is where Bhattacharya is specifying the Lord because he wants to give up kingdom. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Finally, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, "My dear king, do not worry. Because of your firm determination, I am sure that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy will definitely be bestowed upon you." Purport. Due to King Prataparudra's firm determination, the Bhattacharya predicted that the king would receive Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy without fail, as confirmed elsewhere in Chaitanya Caritamrta Madhya 19:151, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. By the mercy of the spiritual master and Krishna, one gets the seed of devotional service. The Bhattacharya was the spiritual master of King Prataparudra, and he gave his blessings to the effect that the Lord would be merciful upon the king. The mercy of the spiritual master and Krishna combined to grant the success to a devotee engaged in Krishna consciousness. This is confirmed by the Vedas. Yassa deve para bhaktir yatha deve tatha guru tasyati kathita hi arthe prakashante mahatmana. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. Shweta Upanishad 6:23. Maharaj Prataparudra had firm faith in the Bhattacharya, who declared Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Having firm faith in the Bhattacharya as his spiritual master, King Prataparudra immediately accepted Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Lord. Thus, he began worshipping Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his mind. This is the process of devotional service. According to Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita 9:34, Manmana bhav madbhakto madhya jimam namaskuru mame veshyasi yuktavyam atmana mat parayana. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. As I was reading this and I was also thinking, those of us especially who come from Indian background, growing up, we heard so many, options as a god. We have Shiv Ji, we have Durga Devi, we have, all demigods as option to be your god. You can choose. We also hear this Jatomot, Totopot, as many opinions are there, at many destinations are there, all this. Not the right ones though. But so it is Srila Prabhupada who told us that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And all of us sitting here, we accepted Srila Prabhupada, that he's our ultimate spiritual master in this movement. And he's the one who got us into Krishna consciousness. It is his book, his temple. And he told us that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we accepted him. We tried to understand who Krishna is and what is his relationship with the other demigods and what are their relationship with Krishna. Some of which we will hear, but I was thinking of this, Srila Prabhupada told us, and here Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, similarly with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, especially in the Bengal section, we grew up hearing that he is a saint, like so many saints are there and he is one of the saints. So this is another thing to accept, that the saint is the Lord, because sometimes when the saints declare them to be the Lord, it is, Prabhupada will say, this is wrong, this is like cheating, this is not scriptural, this is pakhand. And at the same time, Srila Prabhupada is the one who is calling a saint, whom we knew to be saint, who is saint, to be the Lord. So this is another thing, like so Bhattacharya told Pratap Rudra, okay, this is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is Lord, he is none other than Krishna. Similarly, Prabhupada also told us the same thing. And we have to have faith whether we know anything about Bengali or we know anything about the culture or whatever it is. But Srila Prabhupada, the pure devotee, said, Lord Chaitanya, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it is. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it is. So that is our faith. That in Srila Prabhupada and his words, that makes entire movement, what do you say? We can progress in this movement, in this bhakti, in Krishna consciousness only when we have faith in Srila Prabhupada and his words. Continuing the purport, this process is very simple. One need only be firmly convinced by the spiritual master that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one decides this, he can make further progress by thinking of Krishna, chanting of Krishna, and glorifying him. There is then no doubt that such a fully surrendered devotee will receive the blessings of Lord Krishna. Srila Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya explains this further. So we see that Pratap Rudra actually helped, in this Krishna consciousness movement. Jai Shri Radha Kalachandji ki Jai, Radha Govinda ki Jai. We see this, Pratap Rudra, he was doing many services, but two prominent one was one, we will hear as we move ahead, that the devotees who came from Bengal, they didn't have shelter, they didn't have proper prasadam arrangement, and it was Pratap Rudra who agreed to, serve the devotees of the Lord, the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to he was ready to serve them by giving them shelter, proper prasadam, and all the arrangement they needed. And another biggest service he did was releasing Rai Ramananda immediately. Because there were only two devotees with whom Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discussed this intimate pastime, Radha Bhav and Krishna Prema and all that, the deep ecstatic topics of Krishna consciousness, bhakti, was Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodar, known as Lalita Sakhi and Vishaka Sakhi. So, he didn't become an obstacle, rather he became a facilitator, and it is that's a lesson for us when somebody is moving ahead by Krishna's mercy. Pratap Rudra was stuck there. Even in spite of being a king and having everything in his life, he was stuck there, mentally and emotionally, that I am not getting the audience of the Lord of my life. My spiritual master said he is the Lord, and now he is right there. He is giving mercy to everybody except me. Except me. And with that emotion can bring a lot of animosity and, hardship in functioning. But even amongst all that, when Ramananda Rai said, I have to be released. He didn't say, give me pension or anything. He said, just release me. I want to serve Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he became elated. He became happy. Oh, you are getting the audience of that Lord whom I'm craving for. And he facilitated furthermore. So he said, you go, you don't have to worry about finances and everything, And that's the mood of a, pure devotee or a, actual Vaishnava. They, even if they want something and seeing somebody else getting the same thing, even better, they don't feel jealous, rather facilitate the situation so that the devotee can, and this melts Lord's heart, and we will hear about it. So, 52. Teho premadhin tomar prema garo toro. Jai Shri Radha Kalachand. অবশ্য করিবেন কৃপা তোমার উপর। As soon as the Bhattacharya saw the king's firm determination, he declared the Supreme Lord is approached only by pure love. Your love for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very, very deep. Therefore, without a doubt, he will be merciful upon you. You see, he is confirming, but at the same time, as a spiritual master, also giving his blessings, seeing his firm determination, right? He's a spiritual master, he can give blessings. And he's saying he is premadhin. This word is very beautiful, actually. Premadhin, he is completely, what do you say? He is under the control of prema, the love of a devotee. And you have so much love. So definitely you will get his mercy. So I will just repeat myself. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is completely, even Krishna, is completely controlled by the love of the devotees. And you as a devotee have so much love. So you will definitely get, the mercy of the Lord. Purport. Such determination is the first qualification as confirmed by Rupa Goswami. Upadeshamrit 3, Utsaha Nishchayadharyat. One must first have firm determination, firm faith. When one engages in devotional service, he must maintain this firm determination. Then Krishna will be pleased with his service. The spiritual master can show the path of devotional service. If the disciple follows the principles rigidly and undeviatingly, he will certainly receive the mercy of Krishna. This is confirmed by the Shastras. I will just read the next so that we can get to the end of the class. So this is 53. Tathapi kohiyami eko upaya ei upay koro prabhu dekhibe jahaya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya then suggested there is one means by which you can directly see him. You can recite along with me. রথ যাত্রা দিনে প্রভু সব ভক্ত লইয়া রথ আগে নিত্য করিবেন প্রেমাবিষ্ট হইয়া. On the day of the car festival, of course Rath Yatra, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will dance before the deity in great ecstatic love. 55. প্রেমা বেশে পুষ্পোদ্যানে করিবেন প্রবেশ সেই কালে একলে তুমি ছাড়ি রাজ বেশা. He's telling how to meet Lord and how Lord will surely not reject you. Translation. On that Rath Yatra festival day, after dancing before the Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will enter the Gundicha garden. At that time, you should go there alone without your royal dress. Said, give up this dress of king, being a king. Stop being a king for the moment and become a regular Vaishnava. Become a Vaishnava. Like he was Vaishnava at heart, but even externally become a Vaishnava. And that's the trick to get his mercy. Next one. Krishna rasa padhai kori te pathana akale jai Mahaprabhu dhoribe charano. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enters the Gundicha garden, you should also go there and read the 5 chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam about Lord Krishna dancing with the gopis. In this way, you can catch hold of the Lord's lotus feet. So he is suggesting, take up, when Lord will be dancing in the Rath Yatra after getting exhausted for a while, he will enter the Gundicha garden and he will be resting there. That moment you enter and recite, enter not as a king, as a, any other Vaishnava, and recite what? The Rasa Panchadhyaya, the Rasa Lila episode, and while doing so, catch hold of his feet. Bajjo gyan nahi she kale Krishna nam shuni alingano kori bento mai Vaishnav jani. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be in a mood of ecstatic love without external consciousness. At that time, as you recite those chapters from Srimad Bhagavatam, he will embrace you, knowing you to be a pure Vaishnava. So he already predicted what's going to happen. It's just the, as Prabhupada said, somebody asked Srila Prabhupada and he said there are so many 108 temples and all the books are being distributed. He said it and it was just a matter of time when it was about to manifest. So similarly, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said already that you do this, this, this is your prescription and this is your remedy. And he will do the same as the master, his spiritual master said, and he will get the exact result he was desiring. He was, waiting for, seems like eternally. A Vaishnava is always ready to help another Vaishnava. Very important for us. A Vaishnava is always ready to help another Vaishnava. Vaishnava progress toward realization of the absolute truth. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya could understand the king's position as a pure Vaishnava. The king was always thinking of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the Bhattacharya wanted to help him approach the Lord. A Vaishnava is always compassionate, especially when he sees a prospective devotee, very determined, Dhrida Vrata. Consequently, the Bhattacharya was ready to help the king. I think we'll pause after this and move to the next section. Ramananda Raya ji tomar prema guno Prabhu age kohite Prabhu firi gelo mano. Now he is also saying, he is giving some more, solace to the king that, today Ramananda Rai spoke about you. And as soon as he heard your glories from him, his heart is a little bit turned towards you. So, catch hold of this moment and don't be disheartened. Translation. The Lord has already changed his mind due to Ramananda Rai's description of your pure love for him. Purport. At first, the Lord did not want to see the king, but due to Bhattacharya's and Ramananda Rai's earnest endeavors, the Lord's mind was changed. The Lord already declared that Krishna would be merciful upon the king due to the king's service to the devotees. This is the process by which one can advance in Krishna consciousness. In Srimad Bhagavatam, in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's comment, when the Adau Shraddha verse comes, like, the stages of bhakti, he also mentions 2 more. There are more actually, if I remember it right. There are 14. More than 9, and it starts with Satam Kripa Mahat Seva. Satam Kripa is the mercy of the devotee, and Mahat Seva is serving the pure devotees, and Prabhupada will mention about it. So, first, there must be devotee's mercy, that is Satam Kripa. Then Krishna's mercy will descend. Yasa prasadat bhagavat prasadat, yasa aprasada nagati kutopi. Our first duty, therefore, is to satisfy the spiritual master who can arrange for the Lord's mercy. A common man must first begin to serve the spiritual master or the devotee. Then, through the mercy of the devotee, the Lord will be satisfied. Unless one receives the dust of a pure devotee's lotus feet on one's head, there is no possibility of advancement. This is also confirmed by a statement of Prahlad Maharaj in Srimad Bhagavatam 7:532. Nashamatistu, what is that? Manashamatistva durukram angrim sparshati anartha pagamo yadartha mahiya sampadarajo abhishakam nishkinchananam navrinitayavat. Unless one approaches a pure devotee, he cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maharaj Pratap Rudra worshipped both Ramananda Rai and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Thus he touched the lotus feet of pure devotees and was able thereby to approach Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So as I was reading it, since yesterday, for some reason, I was thinking that, we hear that we pray to Srila Prabhupada to get the mercy and of Krishna. We also pray to Srila Prabhupada that, may I please Krishna. But we can also pray to Krishna that may I please Srila Prabhupada, may I please my Guru Maharaj, because Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. So, when our Yassa Prasada, that's Prabhupada quotes, when our spiritual masters are pleased, as Srila Prabhupada is pleased, Krishna will automatically be pleased. And the logic behind it, Krishna's will and the pure devotee's will are non-different. Whatever Krishna desires, Prabhupada says in one of his quote I read that, Krishna says, Sarva Dharma Parityajya. He says, leave all dharma, surrender to Krishna. And I'm also asking you to surrender to Krishna. There is no difference. So if Srila Prabhupada is pleased, that is as good as Krishna being pleased. That is as good as Kalachandji being pleased. So I'll pause here. It's a very, very beautiful episode, and we will see how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's followers from Bengal comes now, and then eventually they all will be properly sheltered by King Pratap Rudra. I wanted to read Radha Kripa Kataksh a little bit. It's composition by Lord Shiva, so that before we get into but not all of it. I thought of if we had the TV, somebody could read the translation while I recite. But I don't know. Do you have it with you? Yeah. So we'll do 1, 2, 11, 12, 13. So I will read, and you can also read, but one of you please also read the translation. Okay. You have the mic? Okay. It may go beyond time, so any of you are hungry, Prasadam is at 8:30. Gopal Prabhu waits anxiously for you to be there. So please feel free to join the Prasadam. You can read along with me. Munindra Vrinda Vandite Triloka Shoka Harini Prasanna Vaktra Pankaje Nikunja Bhubilasini Vrajendra Bhanu Nandini Vrajendra Suna Sangate Kada Karishyasi Hamam Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam. 2. Ashoka Vriksha. No, go ahead for the sorry. So go ahead with the translation.
Oh, you who are adorned by all the best sages. Oh, you who takes away all the miseries of the three material worlds. Oh, you whose face joyfully blooms just like a lotus flower. Oh, you who delights in playing love sports throughout the secret forest bower houses. Oh, most charming daughter of Vrishabhanu, the best of kings. O closest heart-felt companion of the son of the king of Vraja, when will you make me the object of your sidelong glance of causeless mercy?
Ashoka vriksha vallari vitana mandapastite pravala vala pallava pravanu angi komale varaya spurat kare prabhuta sampadalaye kada karishyasi hamam kripa kataksha bhajanam.
O you who are situated in a pavilion beneath a canopy of creepers spread over the branches of the blooming Ashoka trees. O you whose soft and delicate feet radiate with the pinkish glow of freshly sprouted coral like tree buds. O you, whose upraised hand bestows upon your devotees the benediction of absolute fearlessness. O fountainhead of profuse divine opulences, when, oh when, will you shower upon me your sidelong glance of overflowing grace?
11. Anantakoti Vishnulokanamrapadamārchite himadrija pulomija virinchija varapade aparas riddhi digda satpadanguli nakhe kada karishyasi hamam kripa kataksha bhajanam.
O you who is humbly bowed to by all the Lord Brahmas of countless millions of universes created by Lord Vishnu. O you who is the bestower of boons to the daughter of the Himalayas, Parvati, to the daughter of Puloma, Indra's wife Sachi, and to Brahma's wife Saraswati. O you whose toenails glow with the radiance of boundless mystic perfections and opulent prosperities, when, oh when, will you make me the object of your sidelong glance of causeless mercy?
12. Makheshwari, Kriyeshwari, Swadeshwari, Shureshwari, Triveda Bhariteshwari, Pramana Sashaneshwari, Rameshwari, Shameshwari, Pramoda Kananeshwari, Brajeshwari, Brajapite, Shri Radhike Namostute.
O goddess of Vedic wisdom, Vedic sacrifices, O goddess of all pious activities, O goddess of all that is natural and spontaneous, O goddess of all the demigods and goddesses, O goddess of all the knowledge of the three Vedas, O goddess of the enforcement of universal law, O goddess of all the good goddesses of fortune, O goddess of forgiveness, O goddess of the most pleasurable forest of Vrindavan, O goddess of the entire realm of Vraja, O one and only authority of Vraja, O Sri Radhika, I offer my most respectful obeisances unto you.
13. I will read the translation as well. Let's recite it together. Iti mamadbhutam stavam nishamya bhanu nandini karoti santatam janam kripa kataksha bhajanam bhavetadaiva sanchita tirupa karnanashanam bhavetada vrajendra sunu mandale praveshanam. Read the translation and you all hear it and take it in. May Shri Vrishabhanu Nandini, upon hearing my astonishing prayer recited, bestow her most merciful sidelong glance upon the speaker. At that time, one will feel all the effects of past, present, and future karma completely destroyed and gain entrance into the assembly of Nandananda's, Krishna's eternal loving devotees. That aspiring devotee who chants this prayer on the full moon day, waxing 8th lunar day, 10th lunar day, 11th lunar day, Ekadashi, and 13th lunar day will find that his mind and intelligence become pure. Each and every desire will be fulfilled without fail, and by the most merciful sidelong glance of Sri Radha, one will obtain pure ecstatic love, prema. The aspiring devotee who recites this prayer 100 times while in the water of Sri Radha Kunda to the thighs, navel, chest or neck attains complete perfection in religiosity, economic development, fulfillment of desires and liberation, the power by which everything spoken will come true, and great opulence from attaining transcendental majesty. At that time one gets to meet Sri Radhika face to face, seeing her even with one's own present eyes. And Sri Radhika becomes so pleased that she instantly bestows the greatest benediction of being able to see her own beloved Shamsundar Krishna with one's present eyes. Then Lord Krishna, the Lord of Brajadhama, grants one's entrance into his eternal ecstatic pastimes, which is the only goal for which true Vaishnava hankers. So you can go ahead, go home, and you can read this. Usually growing up, Shivratri means, we fast till how much ever time, and we all have different ways of doing it. But I was thinking if we can, read this Radha Kripa Kataksh on Shivratri. It will be so pleasing not only to the devotees and Srimati Radharani, but also to Lord Shiva himself. When we do something for someone, it is primarily to please them, and he will be so pleased. Probably, the happiest of all, Lord Shiva will be if we read this amazing. We were hearing how he is glorifying Srimati Radharani. And while reading it, if you go back to the 13th, you see how short, eloquent is the Sanskrit, and see how much English it took to explain the same thing. That says what Sanskrit is all about, the eloquency of Sanskrit. I was like, oh, it's a big, it's the same size of anything else, and it's like going on, explaining and explaining. It needed so many words to tell us that if we read Radha Kripa Kataksh, 100 times or as many times, you will with this present body, this present, material eyes, you will see Srimati Radharani, and she will grant you the darshan, the audience of Shri Krishna, who will grant you your entrance into, Brajadham, Goloka Vrindavan. Srimati Radharani ki, and wonderful composition by Lord Shiva. Whenever I think of Lord Shiva, before that I was thinking, how to do the transition from Gaur Katha to Krishna Katha or Shiv Katha. I was thinking this is a good, because Lord Shiva is glorifying Srimati Radharani to be the topmost. We have heard so many times here and there, Radharani is our topmost. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that, we are the worshippers of, actually devotees of Radharani, but Radharani likes Krishna so much, so we also offer him a flower, right? That is how it is for Gauriyas. Radharani is our boss. So, and we love her, and we love also ones whom she loves. And so we love Krishna. So, or at least trying to. And so you see how Lord Shiva is glorifying Srimati Radharani's glories, attributes. And we see that everybody from Brahma to everybody, what to speak of just living entities, but the Supreme Most is also worshipping the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, and that's the glory of Srimati Radharani, and that's the mood Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got us. That's the mood. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this material world to give to all of us, to distribute the prema. Anarpita Chiram Chirat, that verse explains how Mahaprabhu came to this material world to give this prema, to release that prema, but also to distribute that prema. And whenever I hear Lord Shiva, Srila Prabhupada, he explains many, many times, and he will explain the word as dhira. And often I would hear him, when he will say dhira, he will also say Lord Shambhu, Lord Shiva. And dhira explanation he gives, that's one who doesn't get agitated amongst all the tribulations, all the troubles, all the, when there is reasons to be agitated, but one who doesn't get agitated is a dhira. And then he says Lord Shiva, when Parvati was worshipping Lord Shiva's linga, he didn't get agitated. He was firm in his dhyan, his meditation. So that's why Prabhupada says that's the example of dhira. So, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam is an amazing collection of the activities and the qualities of Krishna and his devotees. And as 12, 13, 16 declares that Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, Lord Shiva is the topmost of all Vaishnavas. So we'll take some, part of it, hear some of it, which will reinsure that, like how Shivji is the, topmost of Vaishnava. Lord Shiva's position, I would like to start from there. There's an article from Back to Godhead. So I'll just read his position. This is Srila Prabhupada writes, Lord Shiva is not actually like a living entity, Jiva, but Lord Shiva is not actually like a living entity, Jiva, but he is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His position is somewhere between Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Brahma, the living entity. Lord Shiva is therefore explained in Brahma Samhita 545 in this way. Shiram yatha dadadi vikara vishesha yogat sanjayate nahita tataha prithak asti heto yat shambhutam api tatha samupaiti karyad govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. Lord Shiva is considered to be like yogurt, the dadhi. Yogurt is nothing but transformed milk. Nonetheless, yogurt can't be accepted as milk. Similarly, Lord Shiva holds almost all powers of Lord Vishnu, and he is also above the qualities of the living entity, but he is not exactly like Vishnu. Just as yogurt, although transformed milk, is not exactly like milk. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 30, Text 24, purport. And learned scholars in transcendental subjects have carefully analyzed the Samam Bonam Krishna to have 64 principal attributes. All the expansions or categories of the Lord possesses only some percentages of these attributes, but Sri Krishna is the possessor of the attributes %, and his personal expansions possesses up to 93% of these transcendental attributes. Lord Shiva possesses almost 84% of the attributes, 1,328 purport. Lord Shiva is considered the father of this universe and material nature, and goddess Durga is considered the mother. Shiva is neither supreme lord nor a jiva, an infinitesimal spiritual soul, the category to which we belong. Shiva is the form through which the supreme lord works to inject the living entity jiva into this material world. So we know when Krishna has to create this material world, he is there as a Mahavishnu. And when he has to interact with the material world, Durga, Maya Devi, he looks into he looks at the material world, and that glance is called Shambhu, which is Lord Shiva. In the spiritual world, Lord Shiva is known as Sadashiva. So that's the role, as Prabhupada is explaining, that's the transformed form as yogurt. Not Lord, but not Jiva either. So, we'll hear a little bit about his surrender to the Lord. We see that's Daksha episode, and I was hearing Radha Govind Maharaj. It's a Hindi lecture, and he was explaining, Lord, this pastime of Daksha. And he was saying that he was very tolerant, Lord Shiva, right? He was being insulted by Daksha, and was said all sort of thing on his appearance, on his, his status, etc. And he didn't get agitated. And then what happened? That Nandi got upset. Being his devout follower, he got upset, and he started cursing the Brahmanas. Like, you will become a non-follower of scriptures, you will not be true Brahmana, etc. And hearing this, Bhrigumani got upset, and he started counter-cursing. And while doing so, back and forth, what happened? Bhrigumani at one point of time said, we are Brahmanas, we are the followers of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And I believe he mentioned the name as Janardhan, like, Krishna, Vishnu's name. And at this point, Lord Shiva thought that, if I be here and let it go on, this cursing and counter-cursing, there are very much chances that Nandi is so upset, so mad and upset, that he may say things against the Lord. So he quietly left that association, and left that arena and went back. And he didn't do anything after that. But when Sati, his devout wife, who was his devotee, got hurt, had to leave her life, be feeling insulted by her own father, that's when Shiva became very upset and angry, his Rudra Roop, and then he created this Birabhadra and sent him to kill, Daksha, and ruin the entire Yagya Kunda, the arrangement of the sacrifice there. So we see how he took everything upon him. So long, it was on him, he took it. But when his devotee got hurt, he took action. We also see his benevolence, how merciful he is. And we'll spend some time here. We see when Ganga, Bhagirathi was trying to get the Ganga in this material world. She agreed after many prayers, after many worship by generations, by Bhagirathi's prayer finally, Ganga agreed. But the thing was, Ganga was so much in force that if it would have come, it would have just inundated the entire, world. So she couldn't come directly as herself. And then, Lord Shiva, being so merciful upon all of us, he agreed to take, Parvati on his head, in his hair. He tied her in his hair to reduce the flow, which is suitable for us. We see that, I have heard this in a class that, of course in different context, but it came to my mind, especially in UK, it's very popular, the hot potatoes, the jacket potatoes, right? When they give you, it's very, very hot. If you immediately try to eat it, you will burn your tongue, right? But the mother takes, I heard that it's a ritual that it goes on passing from the father to the, and eventually it comes to the youngest. By the time it comes to the youngest, it becomes, it cools down. And then the kid can handle it better. So similarly, if Ganga would have come as herself, we wouldn't have been here to speak about getting the benefit of her presence, auspiciousness. So Lord Shiva, being the father, as we heard, being the father of this material world, the protector of this material world, took this entire Ganga, the entire force on his head, and tied her, and then, then whatever was suitable for us to take, for tolerate, benefit from it, that's what we see. Of course, it's changed over time. So that is one thing. And also we see during Samudra Manthan Lila, right? The Lord, he was not there during churning and etc. But when the halal poison came, the Lord suggested, and the demigods came to Lord Shiva and said, please help us, you are this, you are that, and etc. Worshipped Lord Shiva, saying many prayers. This is Canto 8, Chapter 7, and that's where Lord Shiva takes the poison, and the halal poison comes, and Lord Shiva, he says that, Sukadev, Lord Shiva says to Parvati, to Bhavani, that, I am the protector of these living entities, and I have to protect them. And to protect them, I have to take this wish, this poison, and he accepts it. And if you see, he was not saying, oh, I have accepted the poison, now give me nectar. And how do we know that? Because he didn't see the first time. He didn't see the first time when Mohini Murti incarnated. He manifested, right? When Mohini Murti was there, Lord Shiva wasn't there. If he was there, he wouldn't have asked Vishnu to show his Mohini Murti form. So we see that he just saved the demigods and the living entities. But he didn't say, okay, now give me my share of nectar. Now I am the one, I should get the most of the nectar because I am the one who saved. As we understand that he is not a living entity. He is not, though he is not supreme personality of Godhead, but he has his own tattva. He has a Rudra, he has own Shiva is a different tattva altogether. So, we see how compassionate he is and yet non-demanding. And also, if we pull out 8.7.44, oh, it's already 31, sorry. I also need to go to it. 8.7.44. So this is after he drank it. Now Sukadev Goswami is saying it. Tapyantaloka tapena sadhava prayosho jana paramarthanam tadhi purushasya kilatmana. So tapyante loka tapana. It's like, those, the translation also says that, those who are suffering in this world, tapyante loka, those who are suffering, people in general are suffering. And these sadhus, these Mahatmas, they take austerities, they take tapa to take away the tapa of the materialistic people. So they go through austerities so that the materialistic people don't suffer. And we see this mood again and again throughout the chapters of Bhagavatam. We see Prahlad Maharaj saying that, please give me all. I don't want anything. I'm very happy. But what I think this Prabhupada says that, these rascals are suffering and I want to help them. So that is my pain. I am very happy. I'm very satisfied because he's a devotee, pure devotee. And we also see this with Vasudev Datta, where he says, let all the living entities go back to the Godhead and I will suffer on behalf of them to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says. And then this verse from 3.5.3, Janasya Krishnad Vimukhasya Daivad Adharmashilasya Sudukhi Tasya Anugrahane Sacharanti Nunam Bhutani Bhavyani Janardanasya. So, the people in general, they have become Krishna Bimukhad. Bimukhad means turning away from Krishna. They have looked away from Krishna. And what is the responsibility they have taken the greatest soul on themselves is making them Krishna Mukhad. Now they have taken the responsibility to turn the face of Krishna, turn the faces of people towards Krishna. That's the austerity they are going through. Because people in general, they are so much in sense gratification and Prabhupada explains to us that like the philosophy that we are here because we wanted to enjoy away from Krishna. We didn't want Krishna to be the center. I wanted myself to be the center of the world and not Krishna, and that's why we are here to enjoy. But we are here also to get rectified, and for that rectification purpose, Krishna doesn't leave us alone just because we told him leave us alone. He comes as a Paramatma. He also comes as a Guru, as a Vaishnava, as a scripture. And in fact, all the troubles that we get in material world, because if it is susukham, we will not feel like going back to Godhead. When it is trouble, we realize that this is as Krishna says, Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam. So the Creator is saying it is Dukkhalayam, it must be Dukkhalayam. When you make something, when you cook something, you know what it is. And if you tell me, okay, I made, dal or rice, I have to believe. I cannot say, oh, this is pizza. No, because you made the dal rice, you know it is dal rice, so I have to trust you. Similarly, Krishna created everything. He is the primary creator. Of course, Brahmaji is the secondary creator, but Krishna is ultimately the creator. And when Krishna says this is Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam, this is temporary, this is, suffering and temporary. It is suffering and temporary. So through this, Krishna claims us back. And one of the ways is the sadhus. And the sadhus' job is to make us again look towards Krishna. So their compassion is, this is Bhurida Jana. This is again from Canto 3, chapter 31, text 9. If you know, you can recite along. Tava Caithamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavi Viriditam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadatam Bhuvigrananti Je Bhurida Jana. When Bhakticharu Maharaj left his body, all I would hear, his glorification, his offering. People were saying how dear this verse was to Maharaj. So in his memory, I learned this verse. And such a wonderful verse. And these gopis are, in so much pain, in separation from Krishna. Krishna left them and went. So the gopis are in, they are feeling the pangs of separation. And they are singing Gopi Gita. In between Gopi Gita, they start glorifying the greatest souls who spread Krishna Katha. And they are saying, and when I heard that first time, it was very disjoint for me. I couldn't connect. And as I said, I was hearing Gaurang Darshan Prabhu, and he explains why. So, and you see, the reason is now the gopis, they were also doing Krishna Katha, because before singing Gopi Gita, they were primarily acting, and pacifying each other by someone was becoming Putana, one gopi was Putana and one was Krishna, and killing Putana pastime was happening, and then one was Kaliya, one gopi was Kaliya Gopi, and another was Krishna Gopi, and then the dancing was happening, and like this, they were, enacting Krishna Katha. And that's how, both the conditioned soul and the pure devotees are in separation from Krishna. The only difference is the pure devotees are in constant remembrance of Krishna. And so when they hear Krishna Katha, it's a solace to their heart. And for those conditioned souls who have forgotten Krishna, for them when they hear Krishna, they remember Krishna. So whether you are in separation, and we see this in material world, when you're in love with somebody, yesterday was a Valentine's Day, when you're in love with somebody, and that somebody is not around, and somebody talks about or even takes the name of that person, we become so happy. Whether we express it or not, we become so happy. And we want to hear more and more of that, the beloved's katha. Similarly, the pure devotees are constantly missing Krishna coming to this world. They have come on a purpose, but they are also missing Krishna constantly. And Jai Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji. And when they hear Krishna Katha, it pacifies them, brings solace to them, because through that they feel union with Krishna. Because Krishna says to Narad Muni, Naham vasami vaikunthe yoginam hridayena cha madbhakta yatha gayanti tatra tishtadi Narada. I'm not in Vaikuntha, neither I am in the heart of the yogis, but I am there where the devotees are singing my glories. So Krishna and Krishna Katha are non-different, as his name and himself are non-different. So Krishna Katha is as good as Krishna. So as soon as the pure devotees start speaking, glorifying, hearing about Krishna, they feel solace, because they feel union again in their heart. In the heart of their heart, that okay, Krishna is here, he hasn't gone anywhere. And for the conditioned soul, what happens when they hear Krishna Katha, they feel, oh, this is what my goal is. Oh, this is where I'm supposed to be. So the forgetfulness, what you say, avidya, the lack of knowledge, start wiping off. And then slowly we come into being where we also kind of understand what pure devotees, if not feel what pure devotees are going through, but we kind of, understand where pure devotees are and what they're feeling. And Prabhupada speaks about it in that purport, that is 744 in the purport. Prabhupada says, if you have the phone, you can also see it. Prabhupada says, from here. One who preaches the message of Bhagavad Gita to my devotees is most dear to me. No one can excel him in satisfying me by worship. There are different kinds of welfare activities in the material world, but the supreme welfare activity is the spreading of Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada is writing that Krishna consciousness movement, spreading its message is the topmost of all the welfare, and Krishna is really pleased. And in the verse itself says Krishna is pleased when you take some austerity for the benefit of others. And we see how, we hear the story in Russia, we see this Mataji in Africa, how they even died, just to spread Krishna consciousness. They took it on their life. They took their spiritual master's words so seriously, they didn't care to give up their life to spread this movement. And then but then Krishna is so pleased. So Prabhupada writes further, one should endeavor for that which is never obtained by wandering up and down the universe as a result of the reaction of karma. What is that? One should endeavor to become Krishna conscious. If one tries to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, he should be understood to be performing the best welfare activity. The Lord is automatically very pleased with him. If the Lord is pleased with him, what is left for him to achieve? So we do everything just to please the Lord. And by doing this, if the Lord is pleased, and that's all for us. We are done. Our human life is successful. And as I was reading through it, and I was thinking, when Srila Prabhupada was in Jaladuta, he composed, we'll finish with this, we'll come to a closer with this. This is called Markine Bhagavat, and it's a 14 stanza or 15 stanza thing, but I'm reading the last two. And Prabhupada is writing. Of course, in the purport, Prabhupada is giving his mood, how Krishna conscious movement is so important, and spreading it makes Krishna the happiest, and Krishna being the Lord. Our duty, as if we call ourselves as a devotees, the Vaishnavas, his job is to do anything to please the Lord, right? And Prabhupada sings in his composition that, he says that, Ani acho jodi Prabhu আমাকে নাচাতে নাচাও নাচাও প্রভু নাচাও সে মতে কাষ্টেরও পুতলি যথা আমাকে নাচাতে নাচাও নাচাও প্রভু নাচাও সে মতে ভক্তি নাই বেদা নাই নামে খুব দারো ভক্তি বেদান্তা নাম এবে সার্থক করো. He's saying, I'm like a wooden doll in your hands. Make me dance, make me dance, make me dance as you like. I don't have bhakti, bhakti nai, Veda nai, I have no knowledge. But I have firm faith in the holy name. And my name is Bhakti Vedanta. I am given this title as Bhakti Vedanta. But my name is not successful unless your mercy is there. So you, O Krishna, make it successful, my name to be Bhakti Vedanta. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Wish you all a very, very happy Shivratri. Please meditate on Lord Shiva's benevolence, Lord Shiva's contribution in Bhagavatam and in our life. And may you all have a very auspicious day. Thank you. Please forgive me for the mistakes and getting stuck here and there. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo ananta koti vaishnav vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you. I guess it's late. You want to say something? Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So just one small point. When you mentioned Tava Kathamritam verse, I was also remembering that Mahaprabhu was actually, he became extremely pleased extremely pleased with Maharaj Prataparudra when he heard
this verse. Yeah, he sang the entire thing, but when it came to this verse, he totally gave up. He's like, okay, he lost it. Basically, he completely melted down. I wrote it down, but I forgot because the time is sticky. So
thank you, Mataji.
So
thank
much
you for the wonderful class.
reminding it, Prabhu. Thank you.
Sorry, I just have a quick question. Thank you very much for the class. Just about the Falashruti at the end of the Radha Kripa Katakshana. I remember when I heard this first, I was like, "Oh, awesome, great! I'll just do that. I'll try to fulfill this to get what the speaker is saying you get." But now I feel like some doubt about it. Like it feels kind of like karma kanda.
Yeah,
like
I
you
know.
just do this and you get this, even though it's talking about the highest thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, if you could give some more context about it.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Falashruti is usually kind of karma kanda, you know. If you recite this chapter, Bhagavatam also says, if you recite this chapter, if you hear this chapter, then you will get this, you will get, you know, opulence, you know. But then it also says you will get prema and anything for prema. And if you hear Shikshashtakam also has a benediction. And that is also like, I forgot now, but I thought of bringing it, but I knew I will run out of time, so I didn't. It also says that those who recite and hear and recite Shikshashtakam, you know, every day, they get Krishna Prema. So long it is giving us Krishna Prema, the Purushartha, the Pancham Purushartha. You know, the Purusharthas are the moksha, liberation, and economic development, religiosity. Sorry? So those four things, right? You know, sense gratification, economic development, etc. The four things. But above that, the teachings of Lord Caitanya so beautifully explains this entire part of it, that, you know, these are the four Purushartha. But above this is Purushartha Shiromani. As I heard it in a Chandramani Maharaj's lecture, he called it Purushartha Shiromani, or the Pancham Purushartha, which is beyond liberation. Prabhupada says to do bhakti, pure bhakti, you have to be beyond liberation. So that's when it's Krishna Prema, right? It starts there, the beginning there. And it says that Radha Kripa Kataksh is going to give you that, you know. And it is also recited at Radha Kund. I forgot to mention that as well. At Radha Kund, every day, around afternoon time, all the Brajavasis, they sing Radha Kripa Kataksh. And if you interact with the Brajavasis, this is Vamsibhat near, there are two Vamsibhat actually, at least two that I have visited. One Vamsibhat that is near the Loi Bazaar, the Govinda Dev temple. So this, you know, Brajavasi, Pandit, he was explaining how Rasa Lila happened. That's where actually Gopinath temple was found. The temple, Gopinath deity was found. Okay, under that Vamsibhat tree, that tree. And he was telling, and you know, I was telling, I wanted to glorify him. So I just said to him, oh, you are such a wonderful, you have so much knowledge. So for saying knowledge, the moment he heard, I told him, you have so much of gyan. He got so mad at me. He got so mad. I mean, it was not mad, but you know, because it was a Hindi conversation, so I cannot bring the conversation into English exactly. He said, I'm not a Gyani, don't call me Gyani, I'm not a Gyani. We are devotees. Hum bhakt hai. We are devotees, don't call me Gyani. So, you know, it's not that they don't have knowledge, but then they don't want to be known as the one who has knowledge. They want to be a devotee who is surrendered, who loves Krishna, you know. So that's what, so if it gives you prema, it's why not? And I have actually asked this question to Adi Gadadhar Prabhu 5 years ago or something. He gives wonderful classes on Chaitanya Caritamrta. And then I was asking him, but Shikshashtam, he was saying that we are not karmakandis to do, we are not here like, you know, ritualistic people. We are not ritualistic that, you know, okay, Krishna, we are not doing business with Krishna, that we will do this and you give me this in return. That's karmakanda. But we are doing it out of love. At least we are supposed to do it out of love. And then Prabhu was saying that, yeah, like, you know, if it is Krishna, if I remember him correctly, and he was saying the same thing that, you know, if it is Krishna Prema, as Shikshashtakam, I asked him, the Shikshashtakam Falashruti is, you will get Krishna Prema if you recite it. Then he said, yeah, those are fine. And that's why actually I mentioned this, otherwise I skipped so many verses that I would have skipped that too. But it says that it will give you entrance. You will see Srimati Radharani and she will let you see Krishna, and eventually he will let you get inside Braja. And why not? That's how I was. Does it make sense, Prabhu?
Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu. So we'll pause here. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhumevacha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Happy Shivratri once again. And recite Radha Kripa Kataksh completely.